So there I stood. It's always funny watching these things happen. So I was in Chiang Mai at the night market, and I was getting a fruit smoothie. As you know, that's the number one thing you get there. So in the past, when I was in Thailand before, I would always get fresh squeezed orange juice. One time I got fresh squeezed tangerine juice, which is amazingly delicious because we don't have that in the U.S. But fresh squeezed orange juice is pretty good too. But nowadays, apparently, they've moved away from these fresh juices because you like smoothies, because you get this ice added, and it's so hot that who wouldn't want a smoothie? And I guess they're not up to shake because maybe milk is expensive there or not so good. Anyways, so I was waiting for my shake, and I saw these people standing there looking at it. So it's this guy and a girl. You know how lots of white people meet each other, which I mean tourists in general. But these two people were white. And then they're like, meeting for the first time. They don't really know each other. They're just chatting. And then the guy's trying to impress the girl. He's like, oh, you know what this is? She's like, no, what is that? Like, oh, this is durian. This is very famous. But it's so stinky, right? And she's like, oh, really? Have you had it? He's like, no, but do you want to try it? Because, it's something I've always thought about, right? And so they both decide that they're going to try durian. So I think that happened before in Bali, coming across, walking down to the beach and, oh, what is this delicious smell? Oh, durian! So I walk over there and I get it, and then, some white people come by and they're like, oh. You're like, yes? They're like, oh, we're looking for some fruit. I was like, you should really try this one. This is really, really good. And of course, they don't try it, or, they try it and throw up. You've seen videos of that, or whatever. But white people never have a good outcome when they try durian, just universally. But white people will eat other Asian food that, is considered weird or disgusting. Chicken feet, right? What else? Blood. Some people like blood because it's like Jello, right? I guess pork blood in some places, duck blood in other places. Balut, it's like this egg that has a partially hatched chicken side, but actually I don't know if any white people eat that. That's what Asians eat. Like the more civilized Asians eat it at the less civilized Asian countries. The less civilized Asian countries, Vietnam and Philippines. And the more civilized Asians being East Asians. Anyways, so you never have a good outcome. So I could have predicted what's going to happen. Of course, it depends what you mean by what's going to happen, but it always goes something like this. They smell it, right? Because they can't resist but to smell it first. It's like, do you know that you don't have to smell things before you eat it? It's like you don't have to see stuff before you eat it either. Do you know there's a restaurant in which you are in the dark and you eat food and it still tastes like food? Of course, we all know that. But, they have to smell first. They smell first and it starts making them feel nauseous. And then they eat it. And, depending how brave they are, they eat a bite or they finish off a whole piece, like a small piece, because they're not willing to try the big pieces. And then, depending on how strong their stomach or how weak their gastric, esophageal reflux or their sphincter is, they either keep it down, they walk away and then vomit right there. Anyways, so they just don't eat anymore. And at the end, you said, the guy's like, oh, do you like durian? And the man's like, yeah. Like, oh, well, you could have the rest of this. Here you go. And he walks away. And the girl walks away. So why is it that they never seem to appreciate durian? There's a lot of things that are different about Asian culture. Not just for food, but things in general. That it takes people some time to appreciate, but then they come to love it. Like most Westerners, when they go to Vietnam the first time, they just find it overwhelming. I actually call Vietnam like an introduction to India, like Little India, in terms of the way you have to get used to the dirtiness and the traffic. You've seen all those videos in India of the guy taking half an hour to cross the street, and the street's filled with like a tuk-tuk, like a motorbike, like a donkey, elephant, people walking, right? People sleeping, blah, blah, blah. There's everything, right? On the same street. No wonder it takes them half an hour to cross the street. Vietnam is sort of like that, but it's a huge shock, but not like India. Well, but if you've never been to India, you just find it a huge shock. So people are scared to cross the street because they're like, the traffic never stops. And you have these things called street lights, technically, because they have like little green or red. But it doesn't actually mean anything because the traffic still never stops for you to cross. Nobody actively waits for you to cross the street in Vietnam. You just have to sort of go. The thing is, you have to learn how to cross the street in Vietnam, though. So the rule of thumb is that when you cross the street in Vietnam, just remember, cars don't block them. Motorbikes will go around you. It's like water flows around the rock in the middle. Of course, you're not a rock because, if the water hits you, if the car hits you, you're a motorbike, you'll fly either way. But motorbikes just go around you like water, it is filtered through. But cars, they don't like to go around you, so they honk at you until you get out of their way. So you just go walk, see motorbikes, walk more, see cars, stop, wait, car passes, walk, walk, walk. The thing is, just keep calm. There's no need to rush. Rushing actually is more dangerous because Vietnamese are not used to fast movements. When they drive, they're all usually slow, slow movements. So if you look at their traffic, it's not like traffic actually stops. People still keep it going. They just go this way, around, 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 around. Just keep on moving very slowly. Maybe left, maybe right, maybe left, maybe right. But it's just you have to learn how to walk there. And then you get used to it. It's not a big deal. And sometimes you even forget the rules yourself and break all the rules. And you're still fine. Like one time, I don't know, I was upset or something or tired, and I just didn't bother looking crossing the street. And after crossing multiple streets, like, oh, I didn't look crossing the streets. But I was fine. Nothing happened to me. But I wonder if that's the same thing with eating durian. You have to learn some tricks. You have to get accustomed to it gradually. You can't just jump into it all of a sudden. I mean, it's just like stupid taking a guy who's never skied before, say, hey, let's go on the ski jump. That's just ridiculous. He's going to die, or at least get seriously injured. I mean, a ski jump is where you go like this all the way down, and you have to launch yourself in a certain position, and you have no way of landing other than your two little skis and your knees. And you just got to land, going really fast from really high up. I mean, who else lands after flying without a parachute? Even people who are great, like if you see the guys with the wingsuits, they're really good, they do all sorts of stuff, they still need parachutes to land. They haven't perfected able to land without a parachute. But maybe for durian, you have to ease somebody into it. So when I first ate durian, the very first time I had it was durian candy when I came to Taiwan in college with my family on a trip. Durian candy doesn't have any real durian in it, probably. It's all artificial flavored like candy is. But, you get used to it, right? You're like, oh, okay. It's sweet, obviously, because candy's sweet. I mean, is there any candy that really tastes that bad? No, it's candy. And then after that, in Hong Kong, one person was like, hey, do you want to go eat durian? I was like, oh, I've heard of that. I'm willing to try it. I don't know if I like it. She was quite hesitant, but she told me that it's going to be okay because she's going to take me to a place where they have an ice cream. And I could eat anything in ice cream. There's a place called Salt and Straw in Portland that has delicious ice cream. And one of their favorite flavors is pear and blue cheese. I mean, my favorite, I know about everybody else. And blue cheese, you would say, how could you eat blue cheese in ice cream? First of all, it's stinky. Second of all, it's cheese. Sort of soft, chewy, not ice cream-ish at all. But actually, because it's frozen in chunks, you hold it in your mouth and it crunch, and it just disappears. So ice cream and coldness makes a lot of things more palatable. Like a lot of Asians, especially Chinese, don't drink too sweet, but they will drink soda and eat ice cream. And that's because when things are cold, I think we don't taste as much. So eating durian ice cream was okay, and it's my introduction to durian. And then gradually, I guess I worked my way in. So next time after that, when I really had durian, my friend, we went to Singapore. He's like, oh, we got to eat durian. I was like, oh, okay. So he really loved durian, so he introduced me to durian. I just had a piece. I was like, oh, interesting. It's really creamy. That's about the only comment I'll make about it. But yeah, it was interesting. And then here we are, a few years later, and I love durian. So maybe that's a problem with, throwing people at durian or throwing durian at people and having the full blast of it hit them all at once. Maybe certain things aren't meant to be learned that way or tried that way. Maybe durian's one of them. Maybe caviar or sashimi. especially the different ones like uni, which are sort of slimy and stuff. Yeah, maybe you have to lead them into it. Try a little bit, lighter taste, stronger, 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 and then you'll have a convert instead of somebody who is scarred for life.